A vast savanna, drenched by a recent storm, where two tiny figures emerge from the rain-soaked grass. Golden fur matted against their small bodies, these puppies stumble forward on shaky legs, driven by a desperate mission. Their dark eyes, though weary, burn with determination, as they search not for food or shelter, but for something far more precious: help. Meet Nilo and Safi, two young pups, barely a few months old, thrust into a world both beautiful and perilous. The storm has passed, leaving behind a landscape transformed. Puddles the plain like scattered mirrors, each one reflecting a faint rainbow stretching across the newly washed sky. The air is thick with the scent of wet earth and fresh grass, while distant thunder grumbles its reluctant farewell. As the puppies pad forward on unsteady paws, the savanna unfolds around them in every direction. Acacia trees stand sentinel, their umbrella-shaped crowns heavy with raindrops. The pups' noses twitch, overwhelmed by the sharp, unfamiliar scents carried on the damp breeze. Suddenly, they freeze. There, in the distance, a figure towers above the plain, a giraffe, calmly feeding as if the recent tempest had never touched the earth. This is Amani, a gentle giant known among the local rangers for her unusually calm demeanor. Her long, dappled neck stretches gracefully as she plucks tender leaves from the acacia's highest branches. Against the gray sky, her patterned coat of gold and brown stands out like a living work of art. Nilo and Safi stare in awe at the majestic creature before them. Then, as if moved by a single thought, they struggle onto their hind legs. Pressing their tiny paws together in a gesture almost like prayer, they tilt their wet faces upward, their eyes wide and pleading, silently beg for assistance. Mani pauses mid-chew, her large ears swiveling forward. For a heartbeat, the world seems to hold its breath. No bird song, no rustling leaves, just the meeting of desperate gazes and gentle eyes. Something in the sight of these trembling pups touches a chord deep within the giraffe's serene spirit. Slowly, she bends her long neck, lowering her great head until her warm breath stirs the damp fur on their backs. Suddenly, Nilo breaks the silence with a sharp, urgent bark. He spins around, dashing a few paces before stopping to look back. Safi follows suit, glancing over his shoulder with a plaintive whimper. Their message is clear: follow us, please. They bound forward again, stumbling and splashing through shallow puddles, pausing every few steps to ensure their towering companion understands, and Amani does understand. With slow, deliberate strides, she follows the puppies. Her massive hooves sink slightly into the rain-softened earth, sending up small splashes with each step. Her shadow stretches far across the wet grass, easily outpacing the tiny forms that guide her with their insistent cries. The unlikely trio soon reaches a tangled thicket, a mess of branches torn down by the storm's fury. Beneath this wooden wreckage lies a small, mud-soaked form, so still it might be mistaken for a clump of earth. But as they draw closer, the faintest rise and fall of its sides becomes visible. It's a lion cub, no older than the puppies themselves, clinging to life by the thinnest of threads. Nilo and Safi circled the cub anxiously, whimpering softly. Safi gently noses its cheek, offering a tentative lick, while Nilo once again assumes his prayer-like stance. His paws press together as if imploring the very heavens to intervene. Amani steps closer, her massive form casting a protective shadow over the fragile cub. For a long moment she stands motionless, as if her mere presence could ward off death itself. Then, driven by an instinct beyond conscious thought, she lowers her head. With surprising gentleness, she uses her muzzle to push aside the tangle of branches, freeing the cub's chest. She exhales softly, her warm breath stirring its whiskers, as if trying to coax life back into its still frame. The cub's eyes flutter weakly, but remain closed. Its breathing grows even more labored. Slowly, majestically, Amani raises her head. Higher and higher she stretches, until it seems she might touch the fading rainbow itself. From deep within her chest comes a sound unlike any ordinary giraffe call. A resonant, mournful cry filled with urgency. It echoes across the sodden plain, a note so strange and powerful that even the wind seems to pause in wonder. The puppies add their voices to this otherworldly chorus. Her high-pitched barks intertwine with Amani's deep call, creating a symphony of desperation that seems to demand attention from the very air itself. Miles away, a weather-beaten jeep jolts to a sudden stop. Jonas, a seasoned ranger, sits frozen behind the wheel. In all his years on these plains, listening to nature's countless voices, he has never heard a sound quite like this. The giraffe's cry carries an almost human quality in its plea for help. Heart-pounding, Jonas wrenches the steering wheel off the well-worn track. Following the haunting chorus across the open savanna, as he crests a small rise, the sight before him steals his breath away. There stands Amani, her head flung skyward, voice ringing out over the rain-soaked land. At her feet, two bedraggled puppies yap frantically. And there, nestled in the wet grass, lies the motionless form of a lion cub. Jonas leaps from the jeep, his boots squelching in the mud as he rushes forward. He drops to his knees beside the cub, hands moving with practiced efficiency. Gently, he clears away the mud clogging its nose and bends low, listening intently. A faint breath, barely there. A weak heartbeat, but present. Relief floods through him, but he knows time is of the essence. Reaching into his pack, Jonas retrieves a small oxygen mask designed for injured wildlife. With infinite care, he slides it over the cub's muzzle, holding it firmly in place. The puppies press close, their eyes wide and tails still. Amani bends her long neck, curving it protectively around them all, like a living shield against the world. Minute by agonizing minute, the cub's breathing grows stronger. Its chest rises more steadily, and its whiskers begin to twitch ever so slightly. Jonas murmurs words of encouragement, even though he knows the cub can't understand. The puppies, sensing the shift in energy, begin to wag their tails weakly. At last, the cub stirs. Its paws flex against the earth, and its eyes blink open, dazed but unmistakably alive. Jonas exhales deeply, feeling the weight of tension leave his body. With utmost care, he wraps the cub in a warm blanket from his supplies. As he rises to his feet, cradling his precious cargo, the puppies scramble after him, clearly unwilling to be left behind. Jonas can't help but chuckle softly as he lifts them onto the seat beside the cub. Amani follows for a few steps, then halts. She lowers her head until it nearly touches the ground. From her chest comes another sound. Low this time, soft and tender, like a farewell blessing. Jonas meets her gaze and, for a fleeting moment, feels as though he's standing in the presence of something ancient and infinitely wise. Then the jeep's engine rumbles to life, and they pull away, leaving Amani as a steadfast sentinel on the plain. Weeks pass, and at the wildlife sanctuary, the cub thrives under careful attention. The mud that once matted its fur gives way to a sleek, golden coat. Weakness transforms into boundless energy. The cub, now named Keto, rediscovers the joys of play, chasing butterflies and tumbling through tall grass. Always by his side are Nilo and Safi, the loyal puppies who first raised the alarm to save his life. The unlikely trio wrestles in their enclosure, a joyous tangle of paws and tails. Keto bats gently at the puppies, sometimes pouncing playfully, other times flopping onto his back in mock surrender. When the African sun blazes overhead, they collapse together in a drowsy heap, sharing warmth and comfort. In these quiet moments, Keto's contented purr vibrates through all three of them, a physical reminder of their unbreakable bond. Jonas often finds himself watching them from beyond the fence, his arms resting on the wooden rail, a faint smile softening his weathered features. The sight of Predator and pups, bound not by fear but by genuine friendship, is something that even his years of experience struggle to fully comprehend. When the puppies glance his way, seeking reassurance, he always offers a gentle nod. And somewhere out on the vast savanna, Amani roams once more, tall and steady beneath endless skies. No one can say for certain how much she remembers of that fateful day, but sometimes when the air grows heavy with the promise of rain, Jonas swears he can hear her voice carried on the wind. It's no longer a cry of desperation, but a low, resonant hum, neither sorrowful nor urgent, simply content. This tale, whispered among rangers and carried further still by all who hear it, serves as a powerful reminder that compassion knows no boundaries. The smallest voices, even when trembling and frail, can summon mercy from the mightiest of creatures. And when that mercy is given freely, it has the power to transform the fading breath of one into a bright future shared by many.